programs thereafter to execute some of the key decisions and resolutions that will have come out of this conference. Let me say that the mission of my administration as a provost is to make our college a unique and indispensable institution in the areas of vocational and technical education, where we will use all available resources and manpower to train students in practical terms and retrain staff irrespective of our cadres, whether you are chief lecturer, you are assistant lecturer, principal lecturers, senior lecturers, and so on and so forth. We just need to be retrained to be able to also meet the international demands, especially in the area of vocational technical education. Irrespective of our cadres, to be practical oriented in most of our curriculum contents, and the curriculum content will discharge and be ready to lead by examples in our areas of expertise. We do profess. The School of Vocational Education has 3 departments, namely Agricultural Education Department, Fund and Applied Education Department, and the Home Economics Education Department. We want the best from the 3 departments most of the time. We are trying, but I feel we need to challenge ourselves more to be able to distinguish ourselves, not only in the college, but also in Lagos State and the country at large. That's a very big challenge. I expect very challenging proposals on vocational technical education in the areas that are not captured in the NCC minimum standards. I repeat, I expect very challenging proposals on vocational technical education in the areas that are not captured in the NCC minimum standards. The current provost, who is also one of you, has set up Center for Vocational, Technical, and Entrepreneurship Development, CEFTED, the first of its kind in the college. I shall want the impact of members of academic staff in the School of Vocational Education by coming up with collaborative projects and programs that can strengthen CEFTED. Most of the things that are done in CEFTED are related to what we do in vocational education. So we need a very robust proposal from that school, so as to be able to also strengthen CEFTED. Collaborative projects and programs that can strengthen CEFTED the more in terms of practical involvement that will attract more participants that will have no other option than to enroll for CEFTED training skills in the School of Vocational Education. And I'm aware that currently CEFTED Directorate also uses some of the facilities, but we need more programs so that we can have more participants coming to the School of Vocational Education to do this, to be involved in this CEFTED training, so that the school can be more active and be more, will be busier than what we have now. So we need you to transfer the skills and support the college the college that's giving in terms of sponsorship for higher degrees to the younger ones. I can boldly say that if you look at the number of PhD holders in the college today, apart from maybe a School of Education, I think we have higher percentage of PhD holders in the School of Vocational Education, if I'm not mistaken. And that so we need, having trained the experts, we also need more proposals, more programs and projects so that we can have a more robust activities in the school. You need to transfer the skills and support the college as given in terms of sponsorship for higher degrees to the younger ones. We are already working assiduously, that's a college, to improve on the facilities in the SVE. If you look at some of the development projects that are going on now, our attention is also focused on the School of Vocational Education in terms of infrastructure and facilities. And soon, a lot of equipment will be deposited in the school for the purpose of also enhancing and strengthening that school. So I hope that will be realized soonest. So once such facilities, when fully installed, to be put into full use for the benefit of students, staff, and members of the public. I believe we have what it takes to achieve this. I congratulate the Dean, staff, and students of School of Vocational Education on the achievements of the school over the years. Although it may appear to be what do you call it now? It's the newest of the school, so to say, or the junior of the school in terms of when the year it was created or established. But the School of Vocational Education has achieved so much since 1999 when it was created. And the Dean has also realized some of the achievements the personalities that the school has also shown up. So we watch the school. We have what it takes to achieve this. And I congratulate the Dean, staff and students of SV on the achievements of the school over the years. Let us keep the flag flying by remaining a leading school. And I think we have what it takes to sustain this. Thank you and God bless. So I wish you a wonderful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Can we put our hands together for our hardworking and visionary provost in person of Dr. Ademola Aziz. I will thank you for coming to join us despite your tight schedule and even being away for a national assignment. We appreciate your commitment. Thank you for all you have done for the college and you keep on doing, moving the college forward. He's a very passionate man, and especially in respect to vocational and technical education. He has done a lot and is still doing. Also want to thank him for all the work that is going on in all fronts in the college, okay? Courtesy of the provost's vision. Sir, we thank you. Can we put our hands together for him once more? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Oko. Moving on quickly, before I also want to add my voice to say a very big thank you to the Provost, Dr. Ademola Aziz. Dr. Ademola Aziz, the Provost of this honorable institution, is a crusader of manpower training and retraining of staff. We heard him say that he's passionate about the manpower training and retraining of staff irrespective of cadre to ensure effective productivity via practical know-how. You know, the School of Vocational Education, Technical Education, it's the base, the bedrock of practical training. And we are so privileged to have the provost of the institution as a product of this honorable school. He did throw a challenge while he spoke. He said he expects a very challenging vocational proposal. You know, so I think we're all looking forward to what will be coming out of the bag from the presentations, coming from the keynote speaker to the lead paper presenter. Once again, we want to say a very big thank you to our provost. God bless you, sir. And moving on, before we move to the next item on the program, I want to, at this point, acknowledge the support and presence of co-deans that have come to ensure that their colleague, our own dean, had a successful national biennial conference. And we have the Dean of School of Business Education, Mrs. Duru. She's here to support the school and to support her colleague. Thank you very much for your support, irrespective of the strike. We also have support the presence of the Dean of Technical Education, Mr. Samuel Uki. Thank you very much, sir, for taking it upon yourself to ensure that you're present, not just that you are attending, you are sitting beside the Dean of Education. Thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are at the core of what we've come to do today. The 10th Biennial National Conference of School of Vocational Education is about to present to us the essence of this gathering, the essence of the theme of this conference, which once again is strengthening human capacity through vocational and technical education for sustainable development in the face of national insecurity and global pandemic. And to be doing justice to that, we are about to have the keynote speaker. The keynote speaker is no other, Professor James O.S. Banjo. Professor Banjo is from the Department of Vocational Agriculture Education, Tai Solar University of Education, TASWED, Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State, Nigeria. Permit me to quickly have a run through of his very loaded citation. James Olariwanju Sunday Banjo is a teacher with over 43 years experience in the classroom. He is an experienced farmer, agricultural and public administrator, builder of entrepreneurs, author, consultant, and professor of vocational agricultural education. He is the current head, Department of Agricultural Science Education, Tai Solar University of Education, TASWED, Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State, Nigeria. His research includes cooperative vocational agricultural education, entrepreneurship, livelihoods, development, and administration, curriculum development, and dynamics of pedagogy in agriculture. He attended Government College Ibadan in the 70s and is also an alumnus of Transworld College, New Jersey, Britain. He holds a bachelor's degree in education and agricultural science from the University of Calabar and a degree of master's and doctor of philosophy, PhD, in vocational agriculture from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Professor James Banjo. He is a member of Senate and also Board of Studies, Center for Entrepreneurship and Vocational Studies, CENVOS of TASWED. He is a decorated ambassador of justice and peace in Nigeria. He served the United Nations High Commissioner for the Refugees, UNHCR, as consultant on livelihoods, development, and administration in Nigeria. During his period, he was able to facilitate the training and empowerment of over 10,000 refugee returnees and internally displaced persons of concern within the period of his consultancy in northeastern Nigeria, despite the volatile nature of the environment. He was director, Institute of Vocational Training and Research in Agriculture, Ivotra Taswed as the director of Ivotra. The center focused on training of out-of-school youth and retirees in various agricultural skills towards self-reliance and self-sufficiency. Prior to being a director, he was the assistant coordinator, pre-degree and degree foundation program of TASWED, and was also elected member of TASWED Trust Foundation. The foundation sourced for funds and was able to contribute to the growth and development of the university in the area of structures and development of information communication technology, ICT, of the university. Professor James O.S. Banjo is widely traveled and has also attended and facilitated many seminars, workshops, symposia within and outside the country, where he has presented scholarly papers. These include the highly powered workshop on the development and administration of small and medium-scale enterprises facilitated by CICED India. Aside being a member of many professional organizations, he has over 60 publications in both international journals to his credit, out of which are 15 high school books published by high-profile publishing houses in Nigeria, and also chapter contributions in 6 tertiary texts. He has supervised more than 200 undergraduate projects and 30 master's dissertations. He is currently supervising 10 Doctor of Philosophy PhD candidates, and is a visiting professor and examiner to 3 universities in Nigeria, and as well as being consultant to Justice Development and Peace Commission and United Nations. He is a member of Board of Trustees, Association of Small-Scale Agro-Producers in Nigeria, ASPEN, where he has been contributing immensely to the efforts of thinking positively for small-scale farmers for food availability, affordability, and security in Nigeria. James is a member of many academic and professional associations, which include Nigeria Conservation Foundation, NCF, Nigeria Educational Research Association, NERA, Nigeria Association of Teachers of Technology, NATT, Nigeria Vocational Association, League of Researchers of Nigeria, LORON, Farm Management Association of Nigeria, National Association of Rural Sociologists, Worldwide Organization of Organic Farmers, WOOF, and Children and Youth in Agriculture Program, TYIAP. He is happily married to Margaret, a community development practitioner. To the glory of God, James and Margaret are Jerusalem pilgrims and faithful Christians. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, join me in make welcome the keynote paper speaker for this national conference, Professor James O.S. Banjo.
Good morning to all at the conference, particularly the provost of the college, Dr. Aziz, college management team, the host dean, Her Excellency, the First Lady of Lagos, my amiable chairman, Dr. Vincent, all participants at the conference, all presenters. It's heartwarming to be at this conference, even when the country is getting tough. I can say that the tough in FC, they are also going tougher to make sure that all things go on well. I congratulate the School of Vocational and Technology Education of the college, and I'm happy to say that during the formative era in 1999, I was a friend of the college, and the provost was a research partner. The then Dr. Keji Showande. We did a lot of research together, and I'm happy that have also been called upon to present the keynote address of the college. Distinguished gentlemen and ladies, please, the host should allow me to share the screen from here. Okay, thank you. Please allow me to share the screen. I know you have it there as well.
All right, so you can go ahead and do that.
All right. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is a keynote address presented at the 10th National Conference of the School of Vocational and Technical Education, Federal College of Education Technical. The structure of the presentation has been done in a way that it will be easily understood. We are going to have the introduction, then we need to understand the concepts of the paper, then we'll have a kind of overview of the economic development initiatives in Nigeria, COVID-19 in perspective, overview of the insecurity, then we'll look and dwell more on the human capital development for sustainable economic development. And then we are going to see the relationships between human capital development and vocational education, and then economic development in Nigeria. Then we will look at the challenges of human capital development and look at strategies by which we can adopt to promote human capital development in vocational and technical education. You will agree with me that development, if we want to define it, can be approached from many angles. And because it's a multifaceted phenomenon, having economic, social, human, technological, and many different dimensions. And when we look at education, education has gained a recognition as a platform for development, the foundation on which must be for our economic and social well-being. To achieve sustainable economic growth and national development, therefore, a country has to substantially invest in human capital development, meaning that we really need to invest in our human capital development. Nigeria has achieved so much in terms of in economic terms and in human capital development. If you look at the indices made available by World Bank 2020, you see that despite what we are now, we still rank, we are in the 150th position out of 157 countries, sampled for the study. Recently, many African governments have viewed the vocational and technology education as a poverty reduction strategy. Vocational and technical education, you will agree with me as experts, is the study of technologies and related sciences, an acquisition of realistic skills, attitudes, perception, and knowledge pertaining to occupation in a range of sectors of economic and social existence. Therefore, when we look at the increasing state of insecurity in the country and disruption of school activities as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, you will agree with me that it is a drawback. So this paper will therefore attempt to explore some issues, challenges, and the way forward for strengthening human capital development in VTE for economic development in the face of insecurity in the country. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let us look at human capital. This is a combination of knowledge, skills, and innovativeness, and individual capabilities of employees. Now, when we are talking about innovativeness here, I want you to look at it from two angles. The angle of innovation being new ideas and new technologies. And at the same time, innovation being put into use the products of our research. Different institutions may have different ways of defining human capital. All definitions encompass outcome measures of knowledge, skills, and health, all of which influence the total stock of human capital in a country at a given point in time, and the broad range of benefits that this stock could deliver for the future. So when you look at it, education, health, technical or on-the-job training, mental, emotional well-being, people, the management and communication skills. These are the qualities expected of human capital. Now, human capital development always can be through formal schooling. It can be through job training. It can be through training. It can be through social interaction, and also in health choices and many more. Human capital development is something that must exist or happen for a nation to develop. Human capital is about investments, activities, processes that produce knowledge, that produce health, that produce skills. So what are the qualities expected of human capital development? It means, one, enabling environment for all individuals to fully engage and contribute to achievement of goals of an organization or nation. I'm happy with the college today because part of what we are doing is in line with human capital development. Now, today's program is a blessing in disguise because participants who are taking part in this conference virtually are also exploring, the possibilities of technology to make their contribution to nation building. So I want to congratulate the organizers as well as the participants for breaking the barrier of problems to bring out solutions. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, VTE is not strange to us if we are to define it because we are experts. But for the purpose of coming together here, let us see what the Federal Republic of Nigeria said. That 204 is to be 2014, please. Vocational and technical education involves the study of technologies and related sciences, and acquisition of realistic skills, attitudes, perception, and knowledge pertaining to occupations in a range of sectors of economic and social existence. I congratulate the provost. I congratulate the School of Vocational and Technical Education, because apart from the school, I had the provost talking about a particular center that is related to what we can call apprenticeship and training outlets. So when we look at VTE, it is nothing but education for the world of work. It focuses on inculcating learners with the abilities and knowledge required to take up opportunities in some trades and crafts. It was introduced, VTE, to help reduce the rate of unemployment in Nigeria, as well as granting hands-on skills to Nigerians, mostly the youth. So VTE can therefore be seen as a formal training of persons to acquire skill, right attitude that are needed to make progress in a particular occupation and become self-reliant. Vocational and technical education is therefore to be understood as an inherent part of general education, a means of getting ready for effective participation in occupational fields, an aspect of lifelong learning and preparation for responsible citizenship. We can also say it's an instrument for promoting environmentally sound, sustainable development. So, and also a technique, for nation building. Specifically, VTE provides youth employment, empowerment, consumer education, formation of attitudes, manpower development, training, and empowerment for necessary skills, and every other thing. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we can see VTE as the formal training, because we say education, where it is formal when it takes place in the classroom. It becomes training when it is done out of the classroom, for example, apprenticeship and training. So training is informal, education is informal, because it has its own curriculum and it is designed to take place in a particular place and its time frame. So VTE can therefore be seen as formal training of persons to acquire skills, knowledge, and attitude for gainful employment. Now, having operationalized VTE and development, can we now see coronavirus? It is not strange to us. Coronavirus as a disease refers to, is transmissible and is caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus, SARS-CoV, and the rest of it. Based on the findings of World Health Organization, coronavirus consists of considerable family, but also human beings. Thus, on March 11, 2022, World Health Organization officially declared outburst of COVID-19 as a global pandemic, and the virus has hit about 226 countries, including developing countries of the world, thereby resulting to maximum human loss, which is experienced seriously in Europe, Asia, with a little touches in Nigeria, having a high morbidity rate. Globally altogether, 542,615,000 cases plus have been reported. Out of these deaths, well, you have seen the figures. So that is data from WHO for June 2022, which was just last 2 months. They can also, then coronavirus can also be indirectly transmitted to a person when they land on surfaces that are touched by a healthy individual, who may then touch their nose, mouth, allowing the virus entry into the body. Palliative measures to reduce the virus includes frequent washing of hands, social distancing restrictions, travels, lockdown, the closure of training institutions, and the rest of it. Most health analysts predict that this virus will continue to circulate for at least 1 or 2 more years. And this is evident by presence of new cases as at today. Yesterday, a friend called me from UK and was telling me that is COVID positive. I said, are you still swimming in the cases of infection there? He said, so well. But you see many cases now being treated at home, which does not really require people going to the hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, I pray that may we not suffer the disturbance. It will only give us a setback on our daily activities, but Nigerians know how to treat themselves. As I'm talking with you, though I don't think I have COVID because I've not tested positive, but I'm chewing bitter cola to clear my throat and also avoid some intermittent coughing. Now let us look at economic development. This is the desire of all nations of the world. It is the desire of all nations of the world to attain sustainable economic development. And this remains a challenge to many nations, and including Nigeria. Economic development is considered by Nigerian government to be its central task. The traditional trading, commerce, service sectors alone cannot provide sufficient jobs for the number of school leavers in Nigeria. But the economic development of developing nations can be classified into 3 phases, which include a factor-driven economy, an investment-driven economy, and a technological-driven economy. To get through these stages, a developing nations will have to start from an highly industrialized economy to a newly industrialized economy onto a global and diversified economy. Now, let us look at COVID and human capital development. COVID pandemic has significantly affected health of millions of Nigerians. In Nigeria, there is overwhelming spread of this virus. There were also the challenges of inadequate technologies, to help us, such as ventilators, public protection equipment, intensive care unit facilities, and testing and treatment centers as a result of a lack of government investments in the on health facilities. So let us look at the excuse me, I want to make sure I follow up with you so that there is no issue. And following up with you means that I want you to be part of the paper so that you can develop your own inputs, as well as also making sure that your contributions will be meaningful. So let us see COVID-19 and its effect on human capital development. This is a call for concern for the giant of Africa, with about over 200 million population. Many deaths of public health workers, other social workers have been witnessed in the COVID-19 pandemic. And the constant loss of manpower has affected economic growth and development of the nations. Furthermore, the closure of schools as a measure to curb COVID-19 spread negatively impacted on human capital development, but with a blessing to technological development and discovery of ourselves in the area of technology. You know, the COVID-19 was in one way has its negative effect, and in another way was able to bless us in the area of information communication technology and how best to utilize the ICT for our need. Thanks to COVID. If not COVID, these virtual thing that we're having as alternative to physical will have been a bit difficult. So congratulations to the School of Vocational and Technology Education of FCT Akoka. Some schools had to switch from physical to virtual. The effect of lockdown orders from the federal government, excuse me, economic and school closure combined to underscore the imperative of human capital development that will have been will have assisted in curbing menace and public problem. So let us look at insecurity and its effect on human capital development. Security is the situation that exists as a result of the establishment of measures for protection of persons and property against hostile persons, influence, and actions. Insecurity, on the other hand, refers to the presence of threats to peace, stability, national cohesion, political, socioeconomic objectives of the country. Like today now, your determination to go virtual is a blessing to many people who will have physically come to Lagos. But considering the insecurity, they are hailing the college for this feat of using virtual because you are helping them to protect themselves against the threat to peace, stability that we are currently experiencing in Nigeria. It will have been the dream accomplished for many people from North and South to visit Lagos for the first time, but they cannot, they are afraid. We cannot travel by road. We cannot travel by air. We cannot travel by rail. But for this virtual something, at least it's a succor to us. But very soon, we will overcome the insecurity. To experience a state of physical, mental, and social well-being, we need security. Because without security, there cannot be a stable society. Rather, there will be prevalence of fear and danger from violence, death. So insecurity and its effect now. The cost of prevalent insecurity in Nigeria has cost Nigerians enormous human and material resources. You will agree with me, the noise being made here and there about the trillions budgeted for insecurity, just for the military alone. And the cost is enormous. If that cost has been plowed into non-oil export, I think we will have been somewhere apart from where we are now. So another effect on human capital development is that there are links between human capital development and health. Further, with the increasing state of insecurity in the country, professionals flee for more stable areas, leading to the spread of diseases and the rest of them. And even with this insecurity and its effect on human capital development, the job insecurity in the country and every other thing has led to many young people also leaving the shores of Nigeria. In the news today, I still heard that for last month alone, the United Kingdom has played host to over 200 medical doctors that left Nigeria to seek for greener pastures over there. And when you visit the embassy any day, it looks like which market can I say? It is the Balogun market, or yes, Alaba market, or the one at Yaba. And even currently now, when we look at Lagos, we'll observe many people coming from all over the country, though in some cases we mistaken them for our friends coming from the north with the hope of unleashing mayhem. But in most cases, the insecurity in their own environment has brought them to Lagos area too. And there's some states in the southwest, because they believe that that is the hub of business. And you know, natural, when you get to an environment, you want to get identified with people from your area. So you see them more often than not together, doing many things together. So you consider them an army of people with ulterior motive. But nonetheless, we have to be vigilant. So the loss of human capital, which may affect the economic growth and development of a nation, can be due to insecurity. So also, look at Boko Haram insurgency, which began in Maiduguri, Borno State, has badly affected the economy in various ways. So I was there, I designed a program for them, and I could see how the beautiful town of Maiduguri and the environs turned into things. So insecurity is a serious problem. Major consumer goods and companies which produce these consumer goods have withdrawn from northern region. Not only from northern region, even from Lagos to Ghana, because of social insecurity and the rest of them. A good example are telecommunication companies and banks. They have been forced to close down. Kidnapping of school children and workers is on the rampage. So, and to insecurity, Nigeria is estimated to be losing about 600,000 barrels of crude oil on a daily basis to illegal bunkers, which amount to about 3.7 trillion yearly. That is the punch. So you can imagine if this one is going on there, then how much more? Because the resources which could have been used in strengthening the infrastructural amenities and education system are increasingly being diverted to fund security system, therefore constituting a drain to national security. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let us look at human capital development for sustainable development. Human capital development is something that must exist or happen for a nation to develop. It affects economic growth and can help to develop an economy by expanding the knowledge and skill for its people. These skills provide economic value since a knowledgeable workforce can lead to increased productivity. Thanks to the provost again for the center you have just opened. The center is trying to provide skill of economic value and knowledge to breed a workforce that will guarantee national economic development. The Nigerian Economic Summit Group 2000 further posited that human capital development can be understood from the perspective of the masses that have acquired the relevant education and skills that can be put to positive use towards the development of the nation. Like we are gathered here today, we are not likely to go back the same. We will have been more equipped with more relevant education and skills that will be put to positive use towards development of the nation. So I congratulate all participants and I congratulate the college and by extension, the school and by extension, the college. So human capital development for sustainable economic development continues. However, it is important to note that the higher human capital of a society is the higher will, for the potentials of economic development. That means that our human capital is a catalyst. Our human capital is a catalyst to economic development. The quality of human capital can be improved by investing in people's education. And what kind of education? Vocational and technical education. In Nigeria, not that the federal government does not have laudable objectives. If you look at NUC, you look at NCCE, they will come up and tell you your admission portfolio should include 60% for those for science and technology, and the rest, 40% for management. But the reverse is the case in the request for education or entrepreneurship knowledge that can really guarantee the nation. But investment in education and training like VTE produces benefit both to the individual, society, and the nation at large. So the return on investment for social and nation will be skilled workforce, which will turn the nation or the individual will be better and the individual on good career path for the development of the nation. The quality of human capital determines the productivity and ultimately the growth and development of enterprises. We are what we are now because all of these things that we have been saying, we know it is apparent, but we pray that Nigeria will come to terms with what experts have been coming together to say. For the past 25 years that I've been on research of VTE, we have often been saying the same thing. It is only in this year, in recent time, that we are beginning to really appreciate the development of human capital in the area of information, communication, and technology to drive our economy. So companies that create, disseminate, and use knowledge, that is companies built on human capital, are the ones that survive and grow, while those that do not will surely die. Now today, Nigerian breweries is growing. Why? If you get there is great automation going on there. Great automation. And the automation is in line you know, with what we need now. And the people working in that environment have been trained and still training people and are ready to employ people that have the skill that they desire for improved production. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let us now see VTE, here we are now, and human capital development. VTE is strategic to human development, and therefore is the main link between education and economic development, because it produces the needed labor force. A lot of people have postulated, including Adawa, that investing in VTE raises per capita gross national product and also reduces poverty and supports the expansion of knowledge. This means that for any nation to be fully developed, it must give priority to human capital development. Obviously, vocational education empowers man educationally, empowers man economically, morally, and socially. Most countries cannot meet the challenge of change, growth, and technological advancement in the globe if resources are not managed very well. It is quality education of VTE that can help a human being to drive knowledge from network, which adds to improve man's relationship within and outside the education system. Now, effective implementation and utilization of VTE programs will equip individuals with certain competencies, technological and managerial skills to be self-reliant. This will lead to the much desired human capital development in the country. However, in spite of the significant resources that have been invested in tertiary and vocational education, Africa still suffers from crippling shortage of human capital development. Now, only 1% of African adults has completed tertiary education by 2010, compared to a global average of 3.9, with the gap more pronounced in sub-Saharan Africa. So to meet the numerous challenges facing how to sustain quality education and human capital development in Nigeria, there is need for in-depth training, retraining, better training of citizens and of nation that is regarded as the giants of Africa. I want to let you know that in Nigeria, this menace of the problem has led to the fact that we have a lot of our graduates that are unemployable. Apart from unemployment, there is underemployment and there is unemployability. You and I will agree that due to dearth of facilities for adequate training, we turn out many of our NC and university graduates with little or no hands-off skills, practicability. And when they get out there, rather than creating jobs, they are looking for employment. So we have to look into all of this. So that is why I really appreciate the provost with what he's trying to do with the center. Like in my own university, Tertiary University of Education, where I'm a member of the Board of Studies, we have a center for vocational skills. Nobody comes to TASWED and graduate without also graduating in the area of vocational skill. So meaning that apart from having your certificate in your subject matter area, even if you are reading history or Yoruba, you must have another skill which you will be certificated for. That is why you see majority of our candidates blossoming in many areas, being sold out now, like the guy making waves in area of communication technology in Europe. So that is what we do. And I know the center being floated by the provost will cater for this aspect too, so that our students does not just graduate, they should graduate with employable skills that can help them to make progress in their chosen employment or any other employment. So in any other employment, and then become self-reliant, and there'll be money in their pocket. Because one of the major areas, one of the things as postulated by, by Mason is that vocational education should be meant for those that want it, for those that need it, and those that are ready to profit by it. And by the time we give an array of opportunities to those that are institutions now, they will have opportunity of making a wide choice to know what they want, and they will know how they can make profit by what they want. So let us look at VTE and economic development in Nigeria. There are various reasons why vocational education matters, and the reasons are not far-fetched. One, vocational and technical education plays several roles towards the world of work. VT curriculum emphasizes on the acquisition of employable skills, which is fundamental, a fundamental necessity for driving industrial growth. It is a key to building the type of technical and entrepreneurial workforce which Nigeria needs for self-employment. My friends that I have in my university, my students, I tell them, I said, pass through the school and let the school pass through you. When you pass through the school, and the school passes through you, then it will be a key to building the type of entrepreneurial workforce with the contribution of the skill that the student has acquired. So VTE is a key to building the type of Nigeria that we want. In fact, many African governments view poverty reduction strategy to be possible through VTE. Now, some experts stated that some countries in sub-Sahara in particular are renewing efforts to promote this form of education, that is VTE, and training by making it complementary to post-basic education. Yes, you know, in our primary schools now, we say, okay, our children are having pre-vocational training. Then when they get up there to senior secondary, we say they're having scientific and vocational training. And then we want them to be versatile, to be skilled, to be knowledgeable, and to develop the right frame of mind to take up an occupation by which they can make progress. So to prepare people for workable age for the world of work, that is one of the essence of the post-basic something. Then, education and training, by making it complementary to post-basic education, reaches out to the marginalized and the excluded groups to engage themselves in income-generating livelihoods, like we did in Borno. All the 5 states of Borno were reached by me, we saw people coming out of a devastating situation. And the United Nations commissioned me, okay, let us look at these people and let us resettle them. Let us reestablish them. And let us make sure that they are in an income generating business that can make them forget the past and forge ahead and being able to make money for themselves to meet their needs. So the problems can be addressed using the right form of education, which is vocational and technical education. Vocational and technical education holds the key to Nigeria becoming technologically developed. So it has been established that technology is the most effective means of empowering citizens to stimulate, empowering citizens to sustain national development, empowering citizens to enhance employment, empowering citizens to improve quality of life, hinder poverty, and promote culture of peace, freedom, and democracy, which are indices of unity and national development. Yet vocational and technical education has not gained its prominence in the country, but we are still making efforts. We are making efforts, and we know we are handicapped. And the other approach I am going to suggest for this August gathering is that rather than looking up to government, let us be in partnership with industries. Let us know what the industries want, particularly through their invitation. Let us have a synergy, that is the school, the industry, and government, with the institution playing a serious role. When we have a synergy, we know what they want. The university will, the college, the school will train to meet the need of the industry, and the industry too, through the synergy, they will be ready to promote innovations and any other thing in the colleges and universities. So since the provost is asking for way out and proposals, there are many industries that surround the FCET Akoka there. Synergize with them, and you will see that they will be ready. I know of the Lagos State University of Education. For about 20 years back, they have been in synergy with Nestle. They train for Nestle, and they conduct a lot of things for Nestle, and Nestle supports them. We can also do this right around our colleges of education and university by bringing up a viral synergy between institutions and institutions, industries, and the government. So there is the urgent need for leaders of Nigeria to take vocational education with all seriousness it desires. And if they don't have time for us, let us have time for them. And the only way we can have time with them is to get the industries committed to look at the institutions. Because if care is not taken, institutions will be training the kind of will be graduating manpower that may not really be needed by industry. So there is that need to have a kind of synergy which will meet the need of the, by which the industry will come to the aid of the institutions, and institutions will train the necessary manpower for industries with adequate background. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, VT is perceived and should be seen as the greatest force that can be used to achieve quick, desirable changes and development of nation's economy by developing entrepreneurial skills that will help youth to be self-reliant. Provost, congratulations once again. Educating the public on fostering healthy business communication, consideration and discourage exploitation which could deter socioeconomic growth. Now, that center we are talking about should also reach out. We have to blow our trumpet to the public. We need to allow the public to know what we have. Don't just have the center. Let the public know what we have, and all the people on the street can be sponsored by government to be trained in that type of center. And I know you will take that as a proposal to the government, because you said you want proposal. Training and empowerment of the people is necessary skill to assist in the strengthening of economic prosperity. So let us CFC ET ACOCA contributing its own quota to the training and empowerment of people in necessary skills. Go on baseline, what do we call it? You try to see the need of the people. Baseline assessment. See what the people need and see the kind of training that they actually need to solve the problem in your environment, then develop curriculum for such areas. And let us see the school training people in such areas. So we have to provide students with educational experience and abilities that will make them to become intelligent career decisions. The challenges of human capital development in vocational education. We have enormous challenges. Nigeria as a nation is finding it difficult to harness its natural resources. And there are plethora of challenges. Insurgency, we have mentioned, sponsorship or infrastructural facilities, that of research. Help me to include that of research innovation. Put innovation there. If you remember your research work, you must have probably come up with some suggestions for further research. And you must have probably come up with what can be done. But distinguished ladies and gentlemen, where are your research reports? Where are they? They're on the shelves of your supervisor's, on your supervisor's shelf and your own shelf. What are you doing with it? And all this research we have done, there is no forthcoming innovation, which is committing them to commercial production. Research is just research. Report is just report, if not committed to production. So let us, in our various schools, if we can have a pool of research reports and an advisory committee on how we can commit them to commercial production. And this again can also be achieved through synergy with industry and government. So don't allow our research reports to rotten on the shelves, but let us commit them to commercial production. And at the same time, we need research in what the industries require. And the industries will be ready to commission the research. So this is what we have been calling triple helix. You know, that synergy between institution, the college, and the industry, college, government, to commission research of necessity, you know, and then engage in innovation, that is putting that research findings into use and operating it on production, commercial production, to solve some societal problems. So another problem is poor motivation of workforce. ASU is on strike, COESU is on strike, APSU is on strike, and we have a great deal of problem. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, your PVC is important. Have your PVC, and let us have the government we have that will motivate the workforce and be ready to fund research and promote vocational education in Nigeria. We will remain here. We don't have any other country. Nigeria is our country. We don't have any choice. So let us continue to be steadfast with what we are doing. Now, there is poor funding of institutions. There is poor quality teaching force. You know, I don't want to talk about this. You and I know, but I want to tell you that you have to put in your best, and you have to make sure that the teaching force is trained and retrained to meet with recent technologies in order to deliver teaching very well for the students to graduate and also be relevant so that they can be employable. This paper provides the following strategies for human capital development in vocational and technology education. Adequate resources, funding, increase the productivity of the existing under-educated, and teacher preparation should be given priority. Then there should be more money voted for research and innovation, provision of regular in-service training for teachers of technology. And when we achieve all of these, we'll see that Nigeria will be greater. There is need for our technical institutions to establish good relationship and linkage with similar institutions. The curriculum taught in our vocational education institutions should be reviewed to the demand of labor market. Lastly, there should be drastic and far-reaching reforms in education policy and programs for country to meet the human capital development of the 21st century. In conclusion, however, since education is a tool for human capital development, vocational education and human capital development in Nigeria are faced with enormous challenges. These challenges that include funding, sponsorship, facilities, awareness, implementation of research results, low rating of human capital, brain drain, and the rest of them. To meet the challenges, there is need for drastic reform in education policies and programs. This is because investment in education and vocational education is very, very key to Nigeria, for Nigeria to have the needed human capital, to have the needed human capacity that will build this nation and that will help us to solve problems from COVID-19 and also insecurity. Thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Olariwaju Samuel Banjo, the keynote speaker for the 10th Biennial National Conference of the School of Vocational Education, Federal College of Education, Technical, Akoka, Lagos State. Professor O.S. Banjo is from the Department of Vocational and Agricultural Education, Tai Solari University of Education, TASWERD, Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State, Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if you paid keen attention from the takeoff of his keynote presentation, you would agree with me that the professor has honestly dealt extensively with the theme of this conference. Professor, once again, I want to say thank you on behalf of the Dean School of Vocational Education and the committee that has put this to reality. We expected some questions to have been dropped on the chat room to enable the professor deal with this. There's one question, but so I'm just having to highlight that now, expecting that more participants will drop questions in why I do a recap. Professor, in why he did present, if you were not present when the professor started off with his presentation, he didn't make us understand that vocational and technical education, vocational and technical educational training, it will help for poverty reduction. It's a poverty reduction strategy. It's a poverty reduction strategy any nation, especially Nigeria as a country, should embrace. He said the state of insecurity and after effect of the COVID-19 pandemic is a drawback for the education in our country. You understand? And he proposed two views He did propose two views to innovation. One, he said innovations should be seen as being ideas and technology. Innovation should come from the angle of ideas and technology. And secondly, innovation should be seen as being put into use. The product of our research, the product of our research as researchers should be put to use. The professor also did make us understand that human capital is about investment that produces knowledge. So there's need for enabling environment for goals to be attainable, to be achievable, to lead to the sustainable development that this particular conference is preferring. He did say that VT is basically gaining techniques for nation building. And in wrapping up, he did try to drop some way forward, and in his dropping his way forward, he did drop some key points. And he did highlight the fact that institutions should train manpower that would be relevant for industries after graduation. We should look into the after effects, the life after training in our various tertiary institutions. Secondly, he did say that institutions should synergize with industries to put to practical use, practical and commercial use benefits of our research work. We should synergize with industries in our localities, in our states. We should synergize to enable us benefit commercially, you know, our research work. He also did make us understand that engagement in innovation to solve social and societal problems, and engagement in innovations will solve social and societal problems. And lastly, he did say that we should train and retrain the teaching force. We should train and retrain the teaching force to enable us stay relevant in what we are doing. And Professor Sir, there's a question that was dropped on the chat room by Dr. Ruth Oluwatoyin Oyegunwa, the chairperson of this committee. Her question, Professor, are you with us, sir? Hello, Prof. Please unmute your mic, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you are with us. Yeah, I just wanted to ensure that you are with us. Thank you very much. Yes, there's a question that was dropped on the chat room for you. The question is from Dr. Oyegunwa asking, what relationship exists between human capital and robotics? Human capital, robotics, and business, because we know the trend that's coming up now, and they've been told that in a short time to come, most people are going to be laid off work because of the recent innovation of using robotics. So what is asking, what's the relationship that exists between human capital, robotics, and business? That's a question for you, sir.
All right. I want to thank Dr. Oluwatoyin Oyegunwa, who has put this before us. Now, it's like coming from somewhere, getting to where we are, and then planning for where we are going. Business in itself requires the ease of it. The ease of doing business is the acquisition of the needed skills, right attitude, and education. And when you acquire these skills, you are developed. That is, as a person, you have what it takes. But as we are now, with that, we want technology development. But we should be very, very careful of the fact that as we desire technological development, we should also be preparing ahead. Now, robotics is fast taking over through the use of artificial intelligence for doing business. In many industries now, robots are taking over to even do businesses. Look at the era of, look at what happened in the US, I think, when in China, robots were developed to attend to COVID-19 patients. And not only COVID-19 patients, That is to all other patients, meaning that that is where we desire to go. That is where we are going. Even in some parts of the country now with multinationals, robots are already doing the work. So a sustainable business that will be relevant will put into focus the possibility of robots in its business for the future. For the future. And by so doing, anybody that is in the industry now should consider the human capital need of the industry for him to remain in the industry and engage in training and retraining and development of more skills. So, and to go into robots as a business person, it requires more of human capital development, as I've said. So we are on the right path. So the relationship of between business, between human capital, robotics, and business is a kind of for growth, towards growth and development. They should maintain a balanced relationship for the future. Thank you. I see another question here that is talking about, by Mr. Sun, Dr. Oluwole Ajala. He's saying, kindly throw more light on the problem of insecurity and the global pandemic that has crippled so many economic activities in the country. Let me just hint this answer on what we call attrition and retention of the workforce, the human capital. When there is attrition, people are leaving the job. When there is retention, people are staying on the job. Currently, because of insecurity, because of threats, because of people fleeing from one place to the other, there is, a lot of transmissible diseases, also fly with them. And there is, in the area of agriculture, we are living a place of a zone of facility to another zone of no facility in terms of land for agriculture. And all these, they create a lot of problems. So all of these problems, they are issues. So you will agree with me that, what is it called? Insecurity and the pandemic, there are a great deal of problem to us, leading to a low retention of workforce and high attrition of workforce. We have just talked about our children leaving Nigeria and going out of the country. We need them here. They are leaving the place of demand to a place where they already have them, but they still demand for them. So it's going to lead to much more problem if the insecurity issue is not well addressed. I don't want to talk about what government is doing, but I want to talk about the promise of government to make sure that the need is done to make sure that insecurity is tamped down. And when that is done, you can be sure that there will be higher retention and there will be low attrition, which we need. So, but if it persists this way, then we should be prepared for imminent danger, because more people are still, leaving the comfort zone of business and agriculture go and embrace jobs that are not really promoting that are not really encouraging production. So thank you. Okay, how can an unemployable graduate
use their professional education? Question will be that the unemployable graduates, how can they be retained through professional development?
All right. Now, unemployable graduates, how can they be retained through VTE? Now, somebody that is unemployable means that somebody that feels he has the skill, but actually lack what is needed, where is looking for job. So that is why we are saying that those that have graduated and out there, they have to go for retraining. They have to go for retraining so that they can develop in areas of their interest. Remember, we said vocational training is for those who want it, need it, and ready to profit by it. I don't expect a VT graduate to be looking for a job, except where necessary, like we are now. But somebody that has been trained, somebody that has the skill, that has the right knowledge and the right frame of mind, needs to create job. So if what he needs was not given in school, let him go for retraining. There is none of my children that does not have a vocational skill. Apart from what they read in the school, they are also having vocational skills with which they are using to make progress on their own. So the unemployable graduate should go for retraining so that he can become employable. And when he goes for that training, he will become proficient and will become create job and become self-reliant. Now, for those that are still in school, that turns out unemployable graduates, we know what to do. In a situation where we cannot afford what we need, our CYS is no longer going places. I was the person that did the research in the East to promote cooperative education, whereby the need of the industry is put into the curriculum. The industry, we have people working there, they come to the institution for practicals, and then they go back to the industry to go and work, with the two going simultaneously without one disturbing the other. And then the school too should go into synergy with industries to equip in the areas of need without necessarily waiting on government. We pray for a better government. We pray, but be that as it may, for now, let us do the needful by making sure that we have industries coming to our rescue. Then too, in our schools, let us make sure we give students the opportunity to visit industries. And we should make sure that whatever we teach, there is nothing that we teach which doesn't have practical component in VTE. I stand to be corrected. None, except concepts. All other things have practical components. So we really need to check ourselves as teachers and make sure that we incorporate practical components into our classroom teaching. I'm a teacher of agriculture. If I want to go and see students on teaching practice, and I get to your school, you are teaching soil, and you are bringing soil to the classroom. When your school is surrounded by soil, you are teaching weathering, you are teaching it in the classroom. Certainly, such student is not expected to have my good grade. So let us promote this development of practicability of our students, because the way we teach will determine what we shall eat. The way we teach in the classroom will determine what we shall eat. And these people we are teaching now, they are the people that are going to take over from us. Let us believe that, and we really need to be up and doing in the classroom. And then the center being developed by the provost is a good center to develop the unemployable graduates out there too. They can come back to be retrained in that center being developed by the provost. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Professor, I would actually love this to be kind of interactive, because I'm going to be taking this from the question that was asked and from your response that you just dropped. Now, you're talking about practical content being inculcated in whatever we're teaching in terms of VTE. Now, we are going to be taking this to a broader aspect. Now, considering the other students, undergraduates, that are not studying within the VTE scope. Well, because you earlier said that vocational education is meant for those that want it, those that know that they will profit from it, that have passion for it. Now, generally as a country, Nigeria, we have students, like we have our students, majority of our Nigerian youths at home now due to the ASU strike, and also bringing in the ASU strike also. Then in recent times, we have this trend of a good number of our undergraduates going for skill development. Meanwhile, you can see our undergraduates that is reading history, is learning shoe production. Somebody that is reading education has gone for fashion training, cake, and all the likes. We will have situations whereby we have students that are reading a course, maybe a course like philosophy, now going to take a training in IT development. Now, is it that there's a problem with the curriculum generally that has led most of these students to take these courses? Because if we are talking about employability after graduation, most of these students have found themselves reading courses, being trained for courses that will not be useful to them at all. So how do they function? How do we treat this issue? Is there a problem with curriculum? One, because this has led to most of our Nigerian youth with a slogan that says school is scam. They are going about to say school is scam. So is school really scam? This is the question we want you to address.
All right, thank you, my MC. Maybe you listened to me on a radio program some, shall I say, 6 months ago. And the topic before me then was school is scam. And I said, school is never a scam. But we are the people scamming the scholars. How? You and I will want admission at all costs for our wards, without allowing our wards to really determine what they want to make progress in. For example, if a child tells you, I want to go into textile production, some parents will, you see pharmacy, you see medicine, you see engineering, you say you are going into textile production. So we parents calm them, and they listen to us, they are calm. I have a cousin whose dad wanted the boy a nephew to read law. The guy finished law, went and presented the certificate to his dad. Dad, this is my certificate. Do you still want me to go to law school? I will go. Okay, go to law school. He graduated from the law school, he became a barrister. Dad, I've finished with you. I'm going into film production. Can you see that? That is the area where he has the passion. But some of we parents, we don't give them the opportunity. And you see, no nation can give what it does not have. our schools cannot give what we don't have. We need our teachers to have enough training in vocational guidance. It is not enough to have professional guidance counselors alone in schools. But it is now time for all teachers of technology, education, or what have you, to be vocational guidance counselors themselves. This is what we are promoting in my own institution, so that at any time you can mentor the students, and then to those that is for us as teachers. To the children outside who say school is a scam, you know, many people graduated because, and after graduation, that is when they're able to discover themselves vis-a-vis what they can do, maybe with the peer they met after school, or maybe through youth corps, or maybe with the opportunity of this COVID that made them to now explore the internet to really see that there are 1,001 online businesses they can do, minus the fraud. So people are beginning to rediscover themselves after school. And those that did not go to school, who are able to break the barrier of economic confidence, can say, oh, see me, see what I've made in 1 week. Will I have been able to make it if I go and waste my time in school? So, school is not a scam. It is the environment that is scamming our youth. So we must learn to give an enabling environment to our students when in school and when they are outside the school. So there are chances of rediscovery. Somebody who did philosophy now going into shoemaking is rediscovery. And if it's only being realistic with the environment, because the human capital development is in realization of economic demands and the need of the environment, which we must try to meet up before think about solving a problem. Then the ultimate goal is that money will come to your pocket. Thank you. Now,
thank you very much. A quick one, and that should be the last one.
Sorry, the current curriculum.
Okay, okay.
Now, if you are we saying that the current curriculum? No, you see, curriculum, it should be dynamic. Curriculum is not static. You see, in Nigeria, we should have a review every five years of our plan. How are we reviewing this plan? National rolling plan needs to be reviewed every five years. Economic plan needs review every five years. Education plan also needs review. Curriculum even needs review. You and I should be there. So we can say this is an area that we really need to look into, because you cannot just change the curriculum on your own in your institution. It is something that we have to look into. So let us see curriculum as a dynamic component of education, not static. So we cannot say that the curriculum is not good, but it's obsolete. We have to really revisit it in line with the current day demand of technological need. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Let's be a back-to-back so that what you have just treated now will be a balance, because we looked at it from the student angle. We want to look at it from the professional angles, from the academics now, because in delivering your paper, you did emphasize on what we should do with our research work. Now, if school is not scam for our students, and you just dropped the clarity now, I want to ask this question. Is the education sector, is it a scam for the academics. Why am I asking? We know what's been happening for over 5 months now. We have the lecturers at home, no school. What's in delivering your paper, you also made us understand that there's been a huge decline on our national research giants fleeing the country for greener pastures due to insecurities. What is the way forward? We are asking now as academics, what's the way forward for sustainable development in the education sector for us as academics to be able to deliver? What's the way forward as this country scammed us in the educational system? That's our own question.
In my own opinion, I will just try. But I know that at the end of the conference, we are going to have ideas coming from other participants. School is never a scam. But for as long as we cannot provide enabling environment for our students, we are the people scamming our students. And you see, there is a fundamental principle of vocational and technical education. The environment in which a child is trained should be a replica of where the child should subsequently work.
Sorry to cut you short. Sorry to cut you short, Prof. Our focus here now is on the academics, the lecturers, the people doing this job, the researchers. Is the system fair to the researchers in this country?
All right. To us, the researchers, we know the right thing to do, but we lack the enabling environment.
Principle of vocational education don't quote lacking the training should be a replica of where that child work.
The unfavorable welfare condition, the unfavorable infrastructure, where we are supposed to do our best, we have dearth of facilities and inadequate training and the rest of them. So I always try to encourage my colleagues. I said, we know that there are problems. Let us operate on the principles of what is it called? I want to remember, when you need something, you are able to improvisation where possible and applicable. And then two, the people we put into positions of authority should be people, you know, from amongst us, should be people that know, that understands that the school is a problem-solving ground. So for us to utilize our research, to do our research properly, we need funding for research. We actually need, it was there before. So we have it now where Tech Fund is trying to come into the area, but it's never enough. It's not enough. That one should be stepped up. And the synergy with the industry should be explored very well to promote research amongst our colleagues. And our colleagues too have to move from the angle of, you know, all this copy and paste syndrome, more so in the area of vocational and technology education, to be ready to solve societal problems and come up with innovations that will be solutions to problems of the industry. That is how far I can go with your question. I don't know if I've been able to answer your question.
Very well, very well. I think there should also be responses from our other participants on the chat room to this regard, because they said he who wears the shoes know where it pinches.
Yes,
so as researchers and as academics, this is the area that is focusing on us, because like you earlier said before, the decline, the wide number of people fleeing this country because there are better offers outside the country. You understand? So there are better offers. So for what you've talked now, you looked at the area of improvisation, you looked at the area of whereby the government should step up funding for this sector so as to encourage us. Thank you very much. We actually cannot thank you enough for having dealt so robustly with this topic and kickstarting this 10th National Conference on a very, very good note. Once again, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that was the keynote speaker, Professor James Olariwaju Banjo from the Department of Vocational Agricultural Education, Tai Solari University of Education, Taswet, Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State. Thank you very much, sir. We really do appreciate you. Sir, you could still hold on and maybe check the chat room if there will be further items dropped for your concern. Moving on quickly, I'll be calling my co-compare, Mr. Sunday Oko, as he does the next item on the agenda.
Thank you very much, Madam Joy, for a good job. And once again, I want to add my voice to say thank you to the Prof for doing justice to this topic. Moving forward, I want to quickly acknowledge some. All right. I want to acknowledge some very, very important participants, okay, for being with us. The first on the list here is Dean of Science Education, Federal College of Education, Technical Akoka, person of Dr. D.G. Akintunde. All right, a round of applause for the doctor. Next is Dr. Adejare Okedeji. All right, pardon me if I'm murdering the name. And then we have Dr. Olowa O.W. of Department of Agriculture, Federal College of Education, Technical Akoka here. We have one of our own that came in, but he has gone out because he's a very busy man. The person of Dr. Ojela, the Dean, Student Affairs, FCET Akoka. All right. Next, we have the Deputy Director, Degree Programs, the person of Dr. Falade, AA. You're welcome, sir. And then we have our own very Deputy Provost, the person of Dr. Lamidi. Sir, you are welcome. Okay. The immediate past Dean, School of Vocational and Technical, School of Vocational Education, the person of Dr. Ejiogine, was here a while ago. You are welcome, ma. Thank you. I hand over to
All right, thank you very
my
much.
second.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oko. We're making remarkable progress, I must say. If you are just joining us, it's the 10th Biennial National Conference on the School of Vocational Education, Federal College of Education, Technical Akoka. We must say Dr. Ruth Oyebua and her team has done a very good job to have been able to put this cream of personalities to handle these issues. Now, we will not want to waste time at all to take an interlude at this time. We will be having an interlude after the lead paper presentation before we have the papers that will be presented for this conference. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you were well served by the keynote speaker, and I want to assure you that there's more to come. And the more to come, we are having the lead paper presenter, Dr. Theophilus. Please, are you with us? Please, I want to be sure that you are with us. So can you kindly unmute your mic and just say hello?
Hello.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Hello. How are you doing?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so very much for standing by and for taking this so very, very important. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you Dr. Theophilus Adebose Ajobiwe. It's Ajobiwe. Yes, I'm having to take some VT training, retraining in pronunciation here. Dr. Theophilus Ajobiwe is a prolific writer, researcher, and academic. He has to his credits well over 80 publications, including articles in reputable local and international peer-reviewed journals, as well as chapters in scholarly books. He has contributed momentarily to human capacity development through strategic but focus-driven for the inclusion of persons with special needs in the education mainstream. His consultancy and research interests has sought, among other things, to determine the modalities for setting up a community-based rehabilitation program in Nigeria and developing library information policy for persons with visual impairment in developing countries. Dr. Theophilus is the CEO of Theo Tecton Consults. He has a PhD in guidance and counseling from University of Ilorin, Nigeria. He has a diploma in computer management information systems, CMIS, from Federal College of Education Special Oyo, Nigeria. He has a master's of philosophy in special education from University of Birmingham, United Kingdom. Master of Education, M.Ed in special education, University of Jos, Nigeria. He has a Bachelor's of Education in special education, University of Jos, Nigeria. He has a Nigerian certificate in education, NCE, in special education. He has a grade 2 teacher certificate from the Protestant Teachers Training College, Surulere, Lagos, Nigeria, way back 1977 to 1979. He has a couple of research and consultancy experience that's to his credit, and he has a very robust work experience and has held some key positions from May 1990 to 2020. He was lecturing in the Department of Visual and Handicap Education, Federal College of Education, Oyo Special. He was the Secretary of the Department of Visually Handicapped, FC Special Oyo. He was the head of the Department of Visually Handicapped from 2022 to 2024. He was promoted Chief Lecturer October 2006. He was a visiting lecturer to the University of Oyo, Akwa Ibom State, 2009 to 2010. He has some accomplishments whereby he facilitated the establishment of the Department of Journal of Early Childhood and Special Education. He was a visiting scholar, associate professor, Ebonyi State University, Abakaliki, 2018 to 2019. He had some selected academic publications in the last 2 decades, where he has published a guide to project writing in education for students, tertiary institutions, Ibadan Special Education Research Group, SEDGE. He has also, to his credit, management of disability in the family and community, Ibadan Tecton Education Services, and the management of disability at home at Ibadan Glory Land. He has some books, a whole lot of books to his credit. At the same time, we'll just pick 1 or 2. He has that's the Foundation for Special Needs in Education. He also has another to his credit, Guidance and Counseling and Special Needs for Education. That was 2012. And we'll just look at 1 or 2 others. And he also has some other books, Special Education Development in Nigeria, A Research for New Direction, Ibadan Gloryland Publishing House. He has written a couple of articles in learned journals. In 2012, the perceived problems of people with visual impairment in rehabilitation centers in Nigeria and counseling implications, the Journal of International Association of Special Education. He also has another one, 2010, Sexual Dysfunction Among Married Civil Servants in Oyo State and its implications for mental health. Dr. Theophilus has also at the same time participated in seminars and workshops nationally and internationally. He has participated from 2019 reading to 2012 to 2019. He has participated in a group of workshops and seminars. And he has, to his credit, membership of some professional bodies. He's a member of National Association of Exceptional Children, NCEC, a member of Nigerian Association of Special Education Teachers, NASET, is a member Special Education Research Group, is a member African Special Needs Education Association, and a member Association of Libraries for the Visually Impaired, Nigerian Association of Education for National Development, Institute of Chartered Management Auditors, International Association of Special Education, African Association of Internal Auditors, International Council on the Education of Visually Impaired he is a member of all these aforementioned groups. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please gladly welcome the lead paper presenter for this conference. He's from the Department of Visually Handicapped for the Federal College of Education or your special or your state, Dr. Theophilus Adebose Ajobiewe. Thank you, sir. Please, the air is yours.
Thank you so very much. I want to ask for permission to share my screen. Thank you. Because of the time, I want to take your permission to observe all the existing protocols. However, I want to appreciate the organizers of this conference for their invitation. Appreciate all the participants that have so far made one input or the other. And particularly those of us who are in the teaching profession, I want to appreciate you all and commend you, because at this point, we just all need to continue to work together to ensure that we move our profession forward. I'm going to be talking to you just like we have had the keynote presenter had done most of the job. As you know, generally, the keynote presenter will cover extensive scope in a conference. So mine will be to narrow down some of these concepts based on the theme of today. The outline, I'm going to give you briefly, will provide some background on what we want to talk about. Human capacity development and sustainable development. These are the key things that we want to look at. And honestly, for this conference, we'll be looking at things like major 3 keywords: human capacity development, sustainable development, and of course, vocational and technical education. But very importantly, human capacity development for who? We'll go in there where we get, because that is what is important. That's what is my concern in this presentation. We have to narrow it down to specific who and who do we think we are talking of human capacity development for. So, coming to look at the background, you see, when I set out to gather my thoughts, 2 themes resonated with me. The first one, I was contemplating, in other words, on writing against the notion or the topic itself. And what is the notion? Strengthening human capacity. The second is that the idea of strengthening human capacity, to me, should more or less be something of the last resort. So, what is capacity building? And of course, for who? Because my emphasis in this conference, in this presentation, will be stressed for who is this human capacity we are talking about. Human capacity is a process of developing skills, instincts, abilities, processes, and resources that organizations and communities need to survive, adapt, and thrive in a fast-changing world. We listened to the keynote presenter very, very eloquently, how he tried to, explain some of these principles to us. So it's a process of developing skills. And for those of us who are in the classroom, what we are saying now, therefore, is that you who are teachers, who are teacher trainees, then you don't need that. There is a need for you to know that, well, your capacity definitely must be developed so that you'll be able to meet the changing needs of the world. But like I ask, if we start with a question that sounds very impossible to answer, human capacity of who? Is it for teachers? Is it for students? Or is it for non-academic staff? And maybe we'll move forward in the keynote presentation. Is it for the industry? And if we ask me, you classroom teacher, you NC teacher, where is your industry? Is it on the classroom? So these are the issues that we're going to look at together and see what we can say about them. Here again too, like I said, we are going to consider this keyword, very important, human capacity development and sustainable development. And let's see where the two should come together. And I'm very happy when I listened very attentively to the keynote presenter as he explained the relationship between all this. However, societies all around the world need strong, active, self-responsible people. Individuals who are ready and able to contribute their personal experiences, knowledge, special abilities, and creative impulses to complex processes of change at the level of their societies and the wider, maybe at level of the organization and wider society. So if you ask me, the Nigerian society today perhaps needs it more, even more, ever more than before. So we all have that responsibility. So looking at human capacity development and sustainable development, I'm going to caption human capacity development as a HCD. Fundamental to an understanding of HCD is the idea that sustainable development begins with people as individuals. It begins with us. So, for the context, the learning done by individuals, by you and I, either in the school or out of school, is the prerequisite for initiating and bringing about the process of change at the level of societies and organizations. So those learning we acquire in the classroom or we acquire even from our extracurricular activities, they are those things that also they are prerequisite to our changing process in the society. For this reason, human capacity development to the individual level only misses the bigger picture. So you can now see now that it's supposed to be a relationship between the individual that is being trained and then the bigger picture, which is the society. In essence, attention should be paid to the organizations, institutions, and network in which individuals operate. I also listened to the provost giving his address, and I'm so excited as an administrator for the efforts he's making and what they are doing to also ensure that the organization, the institution where they operate is conducive for people to put in their innovation. That's the kind of relationship we are trying to look at to see, because what I argue at this first point of call, my argument will be to understand so that we all understand the diversities of these individualities and the boxes where they are fitting, and statistically, maybe both of them. See the environment where we are, see the skills we have acquired, see how we can put them together. I asked that question and I'm still repeating it again because it's very, very germane to me. Human capacity of who? Now I have a breakdown here. I have a human capacity, kind of a model here. We have women and children. And who are they? You and I know them. Unmarried, single mothers, housewives. And of course, I've tried to look at even the SDG goals and see where their capacity is supposed to be enhanced. If you take your time to look at SDG goal 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, it captures what we should do to this class of people. The second category is youth and young people. And if you ask me, who are they? We have students, we have uneducated graduates, unemployed youths, employed youths, people, both educated and uneducated. And we have to cater for them under SDG 489. The third category, we have the working class. And the keynote presenter also told us clearly where training should start. He told us the difference between training and education. But the working class, which and where? It has to be either formal, informal, or semi-formal in the economy. And of course, we have the elites because we are talking of human capacity. And who are the elites? The civil servants, bureaucrats, politicians, or capitalists. We have the migrant population, those both documented and undocumented migrants, their capacity also, they're part of what we are talking about. And of course, we have the non-active population. And who are the non-active population? The veterans, the new poor, or maybe the retirees. So coming to Nigeria, we said human capacity development in Nigeria. Is it for the working class, for the youth, for the elites, just like we have mentioned in the model, for the women or migrant or non-active population? They do not necessarily have to be mutually exclusive. They can all be pursued at the same time. And because of my background in this thing, I try to look at it too. We have people living with disabilities who form close to how many, more than 20 million of Nigerians now by their next strength. So how about these people? How do their capacity will be developed in this era of pandemic? Where do they fit in this illustration? And of course, what happened to their inclusion? What happens to the thesis on inclusive society? And in the course of this discussion too, I'm going to share some of my contribution to this thesis. I have done a selection. I'm very close to what the MC just selected now. I've done a few selection of the work I have been able to do in synergy with others over the years, from almost how many years now? We've been working on it, thinking of how to, ensure that our contribution to literature will help enhance the development of the capacity of this class of people. I have done this specifically because my focus is, the focus of this research, of course, is to help in identifying the threats and challenges to human capacity development. It is also to enhance understanding the uniqueness or peculiarity of these challenges across different segments of the society. And of course, are there relatable examples from other societies and or countries across the world? These are what we think we can achieve. Can these challenges be eliminated? If yes, what needs to be done to eliminate them? And what follows afterwards? Should educational curriculum change or be modified? I listened to the response of the keynote presenter to some of the questions people ask about our curriculum, whether it's obsolete or those are the things that must form part of our discussion at this meeting. Should the curriculum be changed or should we just be modified? And of course, like the NCC curriculum that we use in the colleges of education is reviewed repeatedly, or periodically rather. Of recent, they just released their new edition. And we're also expected to make input into it. So it's not always going to be complete for us to sit back to complain that the curriculum is outdated or obsolete. There's always the opportunity for us to make input into the review of this curriculum. Should teachers be retrained? And of course, yes, that's a question that has no two-way answer. If yes, how sustainable are these approaches? So for the purpose of my presentation, I will be focusing on human capacity for just two groups of people. Civil servants, which of course, academics and non-academic staff, you and I, and two, youths and young people. Of course, students, graduates, either employed or unemployed, because we are supposed to produce these young graduates to go to the job market. So, human capacity development, what are the key ingredients? What are they? So let's look beyond this illustration and focus on the key ingredient. And the key ingredients also, the keynote presenter had stressed it again and again. One of the major key ingredients is continuing education and training. And of course, that's even the major one. Continuing education. It must be a continuous one. Further education, yes. When it's continuous, you don't stop, you continue. And of course, lifelong learning, just like the keynote presenter also pointed out. In the course of gathering this information too, I sought some expert opinion. And what was my reason for doing that? because I have a background. I have worked for over 30 years in the college, and I have had so many different positions. I've worked with so many people. I have benefited from discussion with different lecturers and professional heavyweights in the course of my career. Some of them at some point in their prospective careers have had the opportunity to serve as provost, vice chancellors, etc. And therefore, I draw on this discussion and reproduce some of the discussion I had with them when I asked them what human capacity development meant. Listen to what they told me. The first one, pushing members of the staff into capacities or positions where they are allowed to be innovative and creative. Basically, where their ingenuity can be properly nurtured. That's an expert opinion on what human capacity development means. Another, sometimes people do not want to change. They are threatened by the idea of something new, however novel or unique that is. In fact, they resort to what Paul Quiller called ethnic politics. What they do is play politics, play ethnic or tribal cards. It's existing everywhere, every institution. I know you have also your institution there. It's existing. One again, I asked him, he said, look, when you do this from experience, there are always the gatekeepers, or if you like, call them the barriers. One told me, people talk about human capacity development and think they have to travel to Johannesburg, to Abu Dhabi, to Nairobi, to Kenya, anywhere for workshop or seminar. It is just more than that, if you ask me. It's all about transferring skills to others. And of course, one of them, you want human capacity development, and sometimes you're overwhelmed by how much work that needs to be done. We have had the pros telling us they are starting a center for entrepreneur and all the rest. But sometimes you sit back to see how much work that needs to be done. And sometimes it discourages you so much that one will say the status quo is okay the way it is. Why bother change it? And I'm saying this because I was a deputy provost in my college, and I know what it is to manage an institution of our nature. And at a point, you sit back to ask yourself, what is, how do you go? How do you meet all the challenges, all the myriad of problems that come to you on a daily basis? So, human capacity development in Nigeria, let's move forward. Why? I will not delve too much on it because the keynote presenter already told us about the serious problem we have with the unemployment rate and all the rest. But the point is this. The figures that are all over that there, even the one from the National Bureau of Statistics, is a figure of about 60% unemployed Nigerian being youth. And that is the youth is the greatest asset to any nation. So if you have over 60% of them unemployed, then it means we are in trouble. And of course, recently institutions have been talking of moving towards entrepreneurship education and all the rest. Emphasis has been neat, and I think we should continue to encourage it, just like the provost of Akuka just told us, the efforts they are making. I think all other institutions should continue to encourage it. Gmail, for instance, argued that entrepreneurship is a potent tool, useful, a rejuvenating and redeeming an ailing economy, such as that of Nigeria. So some of these experts are already talking about it, that, well, if we can go into it, it will help us to redeem our problem. But how? We continue by highlighting 10 ethical norms and 5 faith-based principles of Islamic entrepreneurship, meaning that we cannot go all out to look for diverse ways to ensure that these things are put into place. Another groups identify market gardening as a pragmatic approach to solving unemployment problem of persons with disabilities in this economy. Well, if we have the time, we'll still talk about markets, the approaches that are being suggested. Adewusi expressed that including training in entrepreneurship skill, acquisition at all levels of education is not only necessary, needed, it is very necessary. just recently, they are all proposing the fact that at every level of our educational system, we must not lose sight of, including or involving entrepreneurship education in what we do. Well, look, human capacity development for civil servants and young people. You recall that I said that in this paper, our focus will be basically on these two classes of people, young people, civil servant. This is just a model that can, pave the path for how they can, be catered for. And so, how do we strengthen this? And that is the question: how? I said it at the beginning that we have, when we were talking of the key ingredients of human capacity, we talk of continuing education and training. And you ask me how, but that's the question I'm asking here. It is by creating opportunities through vocational and technical education, which is the core of our mandate, through conferences, workshops, and seminars, through on-the-job training and certification, through virtual laboratories. Somebody was talking about robotics and all the rest before, through massive open online courses, through ICT, through volunteering, and in fact, work study for students. These are the ways how that we can create this opportunity for continued education and training for our people. I take it again, these are the core of what this gathering is talking about, to strengthen human capacity for sustainable development. Further training, that is the other one. And how do you do that? Further training can also, situate under this list we have. Competencies is also part of it. And competencies can be through merit-based system, through equality of distribution, mentorship schemes, leadership opportunities, prompt promotions, because we are in a tertiary institution, monitoring and evaluation, community services, knowledge sharing, skill transfer, like retreat, event, and so on. These are the way to reward, the process of rewarding to enhance the competencies of the workforce. And we talk about the lifelong learning. Lifelong, is it measurable? Impact, outcome, and outputs. We try to see how these ones can be measured. Staying updated with contemporary approaches, theory, practices, and studies. Teaching and research. And update school curricula. Keynote presenters stress so much about research. And I have no doubt that those of us who are teachers or those of us who are in the College of Education structure should redouble our efforts in our area of research development. Creating opportunity, I have just said that, through vocational and technical education. And we still again appreciate the provost of the college for the enabling environment to keep creating for the education of, for the teaching and learning in vocational and technical education. And of course, we can create opportunities through ICT. We all know the importance of a digital era, which we are all in. So, opportunity can be created, like I've said during the beginning, through workshops, seminars, and conferences. It can be created through work study scheme. For ICT, I don't think it will be out of place if we stress again what we can benefit from, the ICT of, what all of us can benefit from ICT today at whatever cost, at whatever level. Because ICT has created limitless opportunities for individuals, particularly young and civil servants, which we are talking about in this discussion, to get the needed education and training they require at almost no cost. ICT has provided us that opportunities. and we can leverage on it. Students no longer need to be limited to classroom instruction or teachers' test alone to understand a concept or facilitate his or her learning. Some of those tools that are used to facilitate learning and promote instruction outside the classroom wall, they are all common to us. We have Clever, we have Edmore, we have Schoology, we have Duolingo. They are all typical examples of these online tools and applications that we can use as classroom teacher to enhance our ICT knowledge. We said seminar, conferences, and workshops. This, to me, is like the approach of no child should be left behind. So we need to organize more and attend more. Thank God, thank the organizers of this one, that even during this period of strike of our union, they were still able to put this together. So we need to organize more of these conferences, and we need to attend more, not just for the sake of certificate of attendance. I told you I was in management. I know most people, when it's time for promotion, they all rush out to start bringing certificate of attendance for conference. They did not attend. It's not just for those certificates they will issue. No, but for the sake of our own personal development and improvement. I hope that we will take a clue from that. For some time now, some institutions have started introducing what we call work and study scheme for students. We started it in FC Special Oyo here, and I'm sure it's in some of our other sister colleges. From its name, it implies that students, not necessarily on high performing or indigent, have the opportunity of assisting or offering their services where and when needed by the institution. Some of those services are very small services that will not take their time and it will not clash with their period of examination or lectures. For instance, some institutions, they can use them to retrieve books that are scattered on the tables in the library. They put in some hours at the end, they pay them. That in itself will take care of the manpower period or manpower that can be used in that wise. In some cases, there are remunerations, just like I've said. And in some other cases, they are non-monetary rewards. Some there are, some there are not. The third aspect is reward-based system. You remember when we were discussing the key ingredients, we brought out some of these, components. We must always ensure that meritocracy is exalted to the highest level at all times, 100%. Meritocracy. We all understand what I'm talking about. So in our system, in our college system, in our admission, we must ensure that there's always reward for, rewards are based on merit. In essence, people must be rewarded for the work they have put in because of the work and not because they are members of a particular socially constructed or construed group, not because they are from a particular part of a country or because of their religion or gender. The last aspect is measurable impact. Like I said, lifelong learning is only measurable if the impact, outcome, output evolve with the trends, time, and season that we are in. And we must also be conscious of it from just like what the keynote presenter said. Those students we are producing in our institutions these days, if we have to be measuring the outcome, are they impactful? These are food for thought for all of us who are in the system. To this end, young people and civil servants need to be kept abreast with contemporary approaches, theories, practice, and studies all over the world. What is the conclusion? Jump on that one. Okay. briefly. So in conclusion, I have taken you through the tapestry of what it entails to strengthen human capacity for sustainable development. In doing this, I argue that a necessary starter is to decide on the personnel for human development is sought, for whom human development is sought, as that is in fact vital. Across the length and breadth of this presentation, a combination of my thoughts, scholarship of my colleagues, and experiences I have had the privilege of acquiring as an academic and administrator over the last 30 years. I also acknowledge, just like the keynote presenter acknowledge how safe life were in the 1990s, so much so that it was relatively peaceful for us to travel across the country to teach, to participate in conferences like this, seminar and workshop such as this. But then, though it was safer then, now it's no longer so, but it does not mean there were any challenges. There obviously were a number of them. But since we have come this far, of what use is to mull over those challenges? I think we should move forward. So it is important that we note that. And I need to remind you all again and again that nowadays we have series of opportunities. Tech Fund is there, AU is there, NIGDA is there, and all other agencies that are more than ready to fund our travel costs for events, such as at this time, this one we are doing, support events like this at the same time. They only ask you or ask me, your research ideas must be bankable and can bring about positive change in the society. That was the strong emphasis of the keynote presenter. All you need to do is search for these opportunities and submit your proposals and ideas. Simple, isn't it? I had the proposal challenging us, challenging you all, that he needs more proposals to ensure that he can enhance the development of the institution. So we may look at it a little bit and do some level of interaction, very level, small. How many, and I want to throw this challenge to all of us, how many proposals individually among us have we submitted in the last 5 to 10 years? How many? All of us who are chief lecturer, who are a principal lecturer and co. How many proposals have we submitted in the last 5 to 10 years? What sort of researches are we engaged in? What societal problems are we addressing? Are those research ideas bankable? How often do we collaborate with colleagues from different institutions and disciplines to bring about quality researches? You see, these are just pertinent questions that may form part of our interaction at any point in this conference. What societal problems are we addressing? What sort of researches are we engaging in? How many proposals have we submitted, if at all? Are they researchable? Are they bankable? Are they fundable? And then, do we collaborate with other colleagues? And this, to me, these are some of the things that we need as teacher training. Are you here for this conference, for instance, only because you need to tick your conference attendance requirements checklist for the next promotion? My brothers and sisters, my colleagues, these are pertinent questions that I think we need to address at a very important conference like this. And I think I want to appreciate you once again for listening to me very briefly. I have taken my time not to repeat some of the things that the keynote presenter had earlier on said. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thank you very much, Dr. Theophilus Adebose Ajobiewe, for this wonderful presentation. Please, can we put our hands together for him again? Thank you, sir, for your time. Please endeavor to drop your questions, your remarks in the chat room as we proceed. All right. Permit me to quickly highlight some of the things our doctor made mention of while presenting his paper. He said that as teachers, our capacities need to be developed for effective lecture delivery. We need strong, active, self-responsible individuals to contribute their quota in our national development. He looked at different human capacity to include women and children, youth, working class, elites, migrant population, the retiree, that is the non-active population. We went further to talk about human capacity, which includes civil servants, which includes academics and non-academics as well, the youth and young people. He looked at ingredients of human capacity development. And then he examined expert opinion, especially our managers, especially our educational managers and the rest. He asked a question: why human capacity development in Nigeria? And one thing that is striking about all he said is that the unemployment issues, especially among the youth today, is very, very alarming. So we must all put on our thinking cap. How do we strengthen human capacity development for sustainable development? He highlighted conferences, online courses, ICTs, proper reward system, through promotion, etc., etc. Talked about the importance of vocational technical education. He emphasized also that meritocracy, that is good reward system, is key, to strengthen this human capacity development. He concluded by saying that by challenging all researchers for more work and proposals, he asks, what type of research are we embarking upon in times like this, in our national life? Thank you very much once again, our doctor, for your time and for the wonderful job you have done today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
They still need to appreciate you. We honestly do appreciate the very good job you have done, Dr. Theophilus Adebose Ajobiewe. Like we earlier did mention, Dr. Theophilus is from the Department of Visually Handicapped in the Federal College of Education, or your special. And it is worthy of note to drop in here that Doctor was one time the deputy provost of that institution. Thank you very much for your time and for dealing with this topic extensively. While we expect reactions, questions for Doctor, in any aspect that seems unclear or where we need further clarification, we will look forward to those questions to be dropped in the chat room. Doctor, are you with us, sir?
Yes, I'm listening.
I have one question for you, sir.
Yeah.
Talking about this meritocracy, we are in a society whereby people these days even have to buy such merit awards, as accolades, just to beef up their resume. So how do we as academics, how do we as a sector of infrastructure, because The educational system is a huge sector of infrastructure development to every nation. How do we as a sector see to it that those who actually deserve this merit are those that are given this merit to, so that we don't dissuade other people for putting in their best? Because we've had situations whereby people put in their best, but it is dissuade to other people where we see other people that don't deserve it buy it, and just for the name. So where do we come in as a sector, Doctor?
Okay. That's a very, very good question. But let me take it from my experience in the college where I worked.
Okay, sir.
We have an annual award system. We have a committee that we put together who will go into the performance of staff, not a promotion performance this time around, not upward what they use for promotion, but okay. There are other key factors or a key contribution they make to the college that deserve reward. Because if you talk about this rewards that we're talking about, promotion is a reward, it's a process of reward. And promotion is 2 years for a category of people, 3 years for some category. And they will give you a guideline for promotion. If you meet that guideline, you will be rewarded. If you even exceed that guideline, you will also be appreciated. So there's always the guideline to guide in the selection of people to be rewarded. But we have always stressed that in all we do, there are so many areas that we petition meritocracy, so many areas. For instance, we have had cases of somebody or people who will be brought into the system and be elevated above other people, and sometimes this will pose some what do you call it? Some disunity among them. That's one of the reasons. Let me give you a typical example now. For instance, when the positions of vice chancellors in universities are being done, at a point they publish the performance of everybody that participated, and in which case there can be no shortcut, no short way. So these are some of the things that I think we can do in this sector to ensure that when we have the opportunity of rewarding people, we only reward those who merit to be rewarded. And so for us here, at the beginning of the year, this committee will go all out, develop a checklist to find out how these people, how staff are performing, and from there you collate and pick the ones that you think can be rewarded. And it's a way of it's an incentive also for others who may also want to add, who may also want to put in their best as much as possible. But even in the civil service or in this college system we are, there is the idea of double promotion for those who perform. So sometimes even during promotion too, people can also be given double promotion. We have had it in our system some years ago. So basically, we can do it if we are all genuinely concerned as to the fact that we only pick the best for whatever, we only reward best for whatever it is. So that's my take on that. I think it can be achieved in the educational sector if all the managers, if all the administrators, if all of us concerned, we are out there to do it and do it correctly. And that's why I said we must not base it on the fact that he's my church member, he's my ethnic member, or he's from the same geopolitical area with me. So that's the way I think we can do it. It can be achieved. Thank you.
So for you, transparency is the key to achieving this.
That's the right word. That's the right word.
Thank you, sir. There's a question dropped for you on the chat room from Dr. Abiodun Adeshina. He's asking, what can be done to synthesize the downhearted academia and the non-academia to build their capacity, their capital for efficiency and effectiveness?
Yeah, we stress the idea of continuing education. We stress the idea of retraining. If we have those set of people that we know that they are deficient, we create a program that will help them to remediate their deficiencies. I'll give you a typical example. We have the department around us here of students with intellectual disability. So if you ask me, before now, we call them mentally retarded, but they are human beings too. But now we have to continue to develop innovation to ensure that we enhance their capacity by moving them a little bit from where they were. So those people that are far behind can always be enhanced by continually moving with them at their own pace to ensure that the development also it can be coming slowly, gradually, but it will definitely get to an achievable level that will make them be more satisfied. So it's achievable as well that we can, and a way to it is that, and good enough. School of Voc and Technical Education has a lot of potential to do that. There are a lot of our students too that necessarily are not too good in academics when they come to institutions. But like the presenter really stressed, we need to ensure that we enhance their skill by encouraging them to learn new skills. For instance, if the technical education department in our institutions can, liaise with the artisan in the community, who can also benefit from helping them to train those who didn't go to school at all. We bring all those artisans to help, collaborate, to teach them and develop skills for them. So I think these are ways that I think such can be done.
All right, sir. A last one, sir. This insecurity issue, because looking at the theme of the conference, there's an aspect of insecurity and global decline issues going on. From what you just said now, sir, there is a huge the brain drain. Our national brain drain is on a very, very high rate right now. Now, academics are having to sort greener pastures and living for developed countries whereby these people have taken time to look into their infrastructure, and then they take education as key. What is the way forward for us, for our educational system, if we keep having a high rate of researchers leaving this country and doing so well when it gets to those other countries? What's the rate? What's the future for our system?
I think we can all work together. Security issue is a problem for all. To solve the security of this country cannot be for only one set of people. It's a challenge to everybody. So, for instance, you discover that in our schools too, as teachers, we have to be extra vigilant as to the students in our schools, in our environment, so that we don't allow strange people to come into the school. We have had cases in some institutions some years back where the lecturer will be there in the classroom teaching, and these boys will come there to whisk away the lecturer. If such a lecturer, if he had the opportunity of leaving, he will definitely leave. So the system itself must provide, the institution must provide, facilities that will help you to be able to monitor, the environment itself, which is a key problem to us in Nigeria, no doubt. But I think the most we can do is to ensure that everybody is involved in securing the environment where he or she lives. Every school administrator is putting all effort to ensure that the life of the students that come to school are protected. And that is by also working with the correct the security architecture that you have all over the country. In the Southwest, for instance, we have all these group apart from the police, DSS, that can be used. But for those who are traveling, if not because the environment is not conducive, like the keynote, that stress. I don't want to overstate what you have said. If not for that, Nigeria has always been, when we were younger, we were having, the candidates from other institutions that come even to our college to study. When I was a young graduate in this college here, we have students who came from we have students that came from different parts of the world to come and study here. So if the environment is still conducive and the facility that is required is there, well, I think that will help. And also too, I've also encouraged our students here, we keep on suggesting to other places, that this students also form themselves into a youth group, like Boy Scout, Man of War, and all those things. Those ones also, they are also a good way to help also in terms of even defending themselves, and also helping to oversee some of these little issues that can create bigger problems if not resolved. So I think the issue of security in the FC is a global problem. I think we should also let all of us know that this is global. The issue is creating that problem all over everywhere, every part of the world. But I think if we are all out for it, if we are all determined to solve it, because those who are creating problems are not ghosts. They are from among us. They are not ghosts. They are from among us, and they are not angels, I will swear. So if everybody is ready to shine his or her eyes and to be vigilant, I think it can go a long way. I'm not a cleric to begin to tell you unless we are praying, we are praying. We can do work with our hands and with our mind and brains. That's my suggestion to that. But I know that we all know that insecurity in Nigeria is a problem that's almost overwhelming the entire system. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you for a well-presented paper, lead paper. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, so far so well. We have been together up until now, trying to do justice.
Hello,
okay.
hello, ma.
Okay. Hello, yes, we can hear you.
I want to really appreciate the powerful presentation of Dr. Ajobiwe from our sister institution here.
Let us meet you, sir. What's your name, sir?
I'm Dr. Adishna Pedro from Biennial in the College of Education, the sister institution to the institution where our presenter, our lead presenter has come from. I want to precisely note this. Yesterday night, we are in the National Workshop of Science Generation of Nigeria. The number of us that attended the workshop yesterday night, around 8 to 8:30 to 10:30 or thereafter, we are less than 50. Face to face, look at the attendance at this conference opening ceremony too. We are still less than 50. Then I take a caption from when I posted some of these flyers of conference attendance, flyers for paper submission for journal publication on our platform. The responses of colleagues signal that many people are downhearted. Many people are not interested in academic affairs, especially when the whole nation, ASU, is on strike. ASU and KWASU are down the tool, and people are discouraged. If government now, let's just think of government acceding to the request of ASU that have not been paid for the past 5 months. Like in our own college, we are not paid for 2 months. And people like that have been distressed. They have been disturbed, downhearted. How can we build capital, human capital of people of this category that see our regular training programs are so offensive and obnoxious? They don't really want to go for this program again because people are distressed, are disturbed. They don't know the way forward. So, and we are talking of our graduates, they are unemployable. They don't have entrepreneurial skills. How can they be entrepreneurial? How can they be employable? When for 5 months, ASU is down the tool and the federal government could not find a appropriate solution to it. So the question still lingers. How can we raise the tempo of downhearted, that discourage academia and non-academia when the government are not sensitive to their plight and our welfareism are jettisoned by the government? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Sir, is that a contribution from your end or a question from the lead paper presenter?
It's both a contribution and question. It's so disheartening and distressing.
Dr. Theophilus Ajobi, are you still with us, sir?
Yes.
Okay, we would like you to respond to that.
Well, one, like he said, is basically an observation, and I think is a very, very valid observation. And you and I cannot sit down in the conference and insist that government, this is what government should do. All we can only do is to keep on appealing to the consciences of those who are in authority to do the needful. If they do the needful, then it means they will look at the requests of ASU and KWASU and all the rest, and students will go back to school. I think it's much more at this level now. We can see that it's much more than the postulating on what is the cause of this or the cause of that. So my own suggestion is that I agree with him completely that people are so disillusioned, people are, disinterested in some of these things. But even at that, I still feel that as those of us in academics, we must be ready to make sacrifices by developing ourselves. We must develop. Self-development itself will help a lot of what we can do. So government should please listen if that will make a difference. Government should listen, please. And I think, like the provost told us that during his speech, I think they are meeting with the provost and the government. They are meeting with the WASU on their demand. And we read on the pages of newspaper almost every day that ASU and government they are also meeting. So I plead, like any other average Nigerian, that they should please find a lasting solution. Let them come to the same level so that the situation can be solved. So that's my suggestion to his appeal or to his observation.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well noted, thank you, sir. Yeah. At this point in time, we want to recognize the online participation of one of our own who is on his PhD studies in the United Kingdom, Mr. Festus Adeyemi. Mr. Festus Adeyemi, we acknowledge your presence. Can we please, are you online, sir? Can you unmute your phone, your device? Hello, Mr. Adeyemi, sir. Okay. Okay, I guess when he's connected, properly connected, he could be reaching us because he recently just came to Nigeria where he carried out his recent research of his in line with his PhD study in the UK, and it was a very, very eye-opening research that he came and it was well attended. We wanted to just hear briefly from him. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the 10th Biennial National Conference of the School of Vocational Education and Education's Federal College of Education Technical Akoka has been worth the while. These hours we've been online and transmitting from the Federal College of Education Technical Akoka. We were blessed to have had Professor James Olariwaju Banjo to have been as the keynote speaker of this conference. And also we just heard from the lead paper presenter, Dr. Theophilus Adebose Ajobi. Doctor, it's like I've done very well. I've done better with the Nene pronunciation. I've taken a training. So doctor is from the Department of Visually Handicapped, Federal College of Education, or your special. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, from the responses we've had online, people have been commenting and saying a job well done. We just had the comments not too shortly now that judging from the participation, there is a downturn of encouragement. But be it as it may, this conference, you will all agree with me, has been a very successful one. And there has been a team. I'll be calling on the chairperson very soon to take the vote of thanks. That's the chairperson of this beautiful conference, in the person of Dr. Ruth Oluwatoyin Oyegunwa. They worked assiduously to ensure that this was a successful conference indeed. But she didn't do this alone, I will have to say. She had a team of people working with her. You know, for it to be a successful leader, you must have people that believe in you, people that you could always listen to. They rubbed minds together. The team The members of the team are Mr. Kolade Ayeyemi. Mr. Kolade Ayeyemi is the Fine and Applied Art Department, School of Vocational Education. I see him as a cultural icon that we have here, always defending our culture. We also have Mr. Francis Olaoye. Mr. Francis Olaoye from the Home Economics Department is also a member of this beautiful team. And we have Mr. Fashanu from the Department of Agricultural Education. We also have Mrs. Abisola Victoria Cole from Fine and Applied Art Department. Also, we have Mr. Babatunde Samuel Ayegio from the Agri Department. And also Mrs. Abiola Ijioku. So these are the beautiful 7-man team that works with the Dean to ensure that this conference indeed was a successful one. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, having gone this far, we want to take the vote of thanks from the chairman of the committee, Dr. Ruth Oluwatoyin Oyegunwa.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to say a very big thank you to everyone, especially the college management, the provost of the college, ably assisted by his deputy provost, the provost of the college, Dr. Ademola Wahid Aziz. Thank you very much, sir. Even with your tight schedule, you still give us all the time, all the support. We appreciate you very well, sir. Our own person at the school, and also our able deputy provost too, Dr. Abiodun Wafiu. Thank you very much, sir. Other management staff, the bossa, the registrar, the college librarian. I say a very big thank you to you all. So our chairman of the occasion, I am so delighted, so grateful for this opportunity you give us for making it possible for us to start this next annual conference and meet different kind of, very tight schedule, and even the change in date and all of that to make it a point of making sure that they are but they recognize you just at the start of this is Shola. Thank you very much. I say thank you, a very big one. Thank God they are come to pass. My I'm so grateful to you. For trusting in us. We are able to do this job. My able team. We are very supportive. We are always together night, most times we agree to agree. All the sure that the recorded success like this is come forefront just like we have now. I will not forget the that's my old home. I thank you, Dr. Victoria Semidayo Aladewodu. Thank you for the support, both financial and otherwise. My able chairman emeritus, I recognize you very much, Mr. Oje Ebenezer Ademuyiwa. Thank you very much. My able, supportive, ever ready, ever there. I don't know which other adjective to use now. Dr. O.A. Olowa. Thank you very, very much, ma. For HOD Agric, for the word of advice, the support, and all other ones. I can't forget my very powerful dean, the Dean of Dean. She's ably seated here from the beginning of the program to the end. Please. Yeah. It shows that she's really dean of it. She doesn't want to leave her own thing alone. She cares for her, and to the glory of God, is also seated there with us. Mr. Samuel Cookies. Thank you very much. I say thank you very much, sir. Now the director, the big program. Thank you very much. I cannot also forget one of my own very powerful ideas. They always say, oh, we have to do this conference. Thank you very much, sir. I wish you all, Mr. Ayemi, the cultural man, about Mr. Lori, like I always say, he's always there. Yes, yes. My able secretary, Mr. Lori, Mr. Junior, Mr. Who again? Engineer Fashion, my very powerful secretary. We have been Mrs. Cole. I've forgotten you. I didn't forget to Mrs. E.G. I can't forget that. That's my able powerful secretary. How can I forget somebody powerful like that? So to God be all the glory. Oh, see this wonderful blessing. Just making one day be like 100 days. I think we should not end the program. Please, let's give them a beautiful, wonderful round of applause. They are so wonderful. They bring color to the program. They bring life, you know. It's not so boring. Despite the fact that we are all yesterday, it's a still program should not end. Above all, I give Jehovah God the giver of every good gift of life and the sustenance of it, the one who has made this day a wonderful day. And it is marvelous in our eyes. I say thank you, everybody. I say thank you to the school. It's been this rare privilege to serve in this capacity. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
That was the chairman of this beautiful committee that made this possible. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy that the technical team had to position their camera on her, because when I saw her this morning, I asked her if she was getting married again this morning. She looked like a bride. You understand? That's to show you that she put her heart to it. She had to look it. She had to feel it. And may I also make us understand that she is from the Department of Home Economics Education. And for you people online, I want to say you can join us in the E format, because having an home economics guru here, it means there's going to be Nigerian jollof. There'll be Nigerian jollof for this conference. My dean is more than capable to do this. Okay, I will having my co-compare take the next aspect of this conference as we draw it to a close.
Thank you very much, Madam Joy, for the good job. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we are not tired. We're about to draw the curtain to a close. And I want to use this privilege to call upon the Dean of Deans in the house to please lead us in the closing prayer as we arise. I feel like singing a praise song, but I think you will do better. Thank you.
We are grateful, oh Lord. We are grateful, oh Lord. Hallelujah. For all you have done for us. Hallelujah. We are grateful. Oh, Almighty and everlasting God, thank you for this day you have made. We thank you for the success of this conference. It was a laudable one. And because your presence are here and we felt your presence, that's why everything went on successfully. May all glory, honor, dominion be given unto you now and forevermore. Almighty God, we thank you for the keynote speaker and the paper presenter. With all this they have told us, May we now put them into practice, and may it result for the development of educational system so that most of our researchers will not be leaving this country. May you, oh Lord, make this country, our Nigeria, to be conducive so that we will be proud to be a Nigerian. We also pray for the security of this place, that the good Lord, who is the chief security, will continue to protect us. Papa, we thank you for all those people that have traveled here and there. May you give them journey mercies. We thank you for everything you have put in place for those that have contributed in one way or the other. Papa, may you pay them back in Jesus' name. We thank you for our dear provost, who is always with us, who just came back. Maybe it's because of this conference, he just came back. We pray that you continue to give him wisdom and understanding with his team to lead us well in this country, in Jesus' name. We also pray that the dean of this school, you will continue to give her wisdom and aspiration to lead the lecturers aright and other staff in Jesus' name. Papa, with this and other things, we say thank you in Jesus' name. Thank you in Jesus' name. Thank you. For in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Dean of School of Business Education, Ms. Duru. Want to say thank you to our Deputy Provost, Dr. Abiodun Lamidi. Sir, you have been with us through till this time. We do appreciate your consistency. Thank you for honoring the School of Vocational Education at the 10th Biennial Conference. We want to also say thank you to the Kawasu Chairman, Akoka Chapter, Mr. Ijadunla. Mr. Ijadunla, thank you for being part of this conference. Mr. Ijadunla, thank you for being part of this conference. We appreciate your comments.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We want to let everyone participating that while we are trying to draw this opening section to a wrap right now, we want to let everyone know that there will be a short break, and after the short break, we'll be reconvening for the plenary section by 3 p.m. We'll be reconvening for the plenary section by the technical section, that's the plenary section, by 3 p.m. I want to say thank you to Adebayo Raimot Adejumoke. I want to say thank you to Dr. Abiodun Adeshina. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Mr. Ebenezer Ojay. Thank you to Oyeni Mary. We also want to say thank you for participating. Precious let me have your participation. Want to say thank you to everyone that took it upon themselves to participate in this conference. You would all agree with me that the conference has been worth the take, honestly. And like the provost of our institution did say, he did ask for proposals that we enable us to, from this conference, we had the professor, the keynote speaker earlier, provide some proposals, and also the keynote, the lead paper presenter also. So you would agree with me that this conference is indeed timely for the time we are in, judging from the current dispensation of the academic body being on strike for over 5 months, our students being at home, and we are all here seeking the way forward. Thank you, Mr. Peter Lugbeni. Thank you, Sadia Abdul Karim Kwamin. Thank you so much to all participants. And once again, from the technical room here, from the technical room, Federal College of Education's Technical Okaka, we are saying the 10th annual, the opening ceremony of the 10th Biennial National Conference. What happened here? Okay, I've been meant to, I'm made to understand that the link for the technical section is the same link the same link that you used for this opening ceremony. So please have that in mind. And we would want you to take a break and ensure you reconvene and join us at 3 p.m. for the technical session. From the technical room, I have been able to succeed to do this. There's a general saying that behind every successful man, there is a woman. Honestly, behind the successful woman of myself today, there's been a man, and he's been Mr. Oko Sunday Michael. He's been my co-compare. Mr. Oko, drop your rap before we close this section.
Thank you very much. It's a good thing to work with you. I think we've both delivered. We pray for more success, even as a school, in time to come. Thank you very much for working with me.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's a successful wrap from the technical room. We'll see you by 3 p.m. when we reconvene for the plenary session. Thank you so very much. God bless you. Yeah, congratulations to the team. So, thank you. So we'll be closing with the second stanza of the national anthem, O God of creation. God of creation, thy rest unknown, thy bottle of a some jollof rice for yourself, courtesy of my dean. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much.